Good afternoon, everybody. I've been having a debate with someone who is a nutritionist. And I was in the middle of debating this person when I thought it would be a good idea to bring this debate into a video. It's happening under my video, Did Vegan Gains Diet Give Him Cancer? Which almost has 1,000 views now. It's kind of slowing down. It'd be good to get to 1,000 if anybody wants to share this. This is the Vegan Carboraider channel. Problems have multiple causes that combine. One of my areas of expertise is in diet. So let's take a look at how his diet might be contributing to the tumor that he has. Alright, right here. Nutritionist started things off by quoting me. One of my areas of expertise is diet. He wanted to know, have you actually read the literature yourself on the relationship between protein intake and cancer prevalence? My response, which literature? I don't give much credence to studies. Look at how they only stir debate. And here we are. You say you didn't give much credence to real scientific data. That's not exactly what I said. The problem with studies is how they're interpreted and how they're set up by the food manufacturers. But you give credence to a book written by a man who fraudulently uses a doctor title as a chiropractor. Well, first of all, that makes no sense. Secondly, he would have got in trouble with the law if that was true. He is a doctor. Been having this debate for 7 years. It's crazy. This person is a nutritionist, formally educated, and you'll be able to tell, but doesn't know what a doctor is. Douglas Graham got his doctorate in college. And this is a ad hominem attack. My point is, you have misrepresented the relationship between protein and cancer. There is some correlation. I doubt his protein intake goes above 1.5 grams per kilogram of body weight. And that is around the standard recommendations based on the literature for hypertrophy for those involved in resistance training. Yeah, but he needs more protein because he uses more. But all that muscle is unnatural, and a lot of bodybuilders end up with cancer. I responded with, Dr. Graham is a doctor. He got a PhD doctorate. People have a simplistic idea of what a doctor is. I'm surprised he does. Ironically, medical doctors don't have education in diet. So what are we talking about? He backs up his words in the book. He's got footnotes, where a lot of paleo books don't have footnotes. 1.5 grams, and that's around the standard recommendations. Yeah. A lot of bodybuilders get cancer. There I am. And I only said protein could be a factor. His posts are kind of long. I may not have read all these. So this is interesting here. He digs deeper into this flawed thinking. My point is, Dr. Graham does not hold a PhD in a credible scientific field. Well, you've got to take a lot of courses, a lot of classes. There aren't 20 classes in chiropractic. Making use of the title doctor is disingenuous and redundant. You can earn a PhD and call yourself a doctor. A lot of people can, yeah. What I'm saying to you is there's a world of difference in what you have studied to earn that title. Yeah, true. He, Dr. Graham, has not studied science. Yes, he is. He wrote a book on the science of diet. And he's using the term doctor to imply credentials he does not have. No, you're implying things. Doctors use the surname doctor their whole life. That's what they all do. He's suggesting that the typical medical doctor has the credentials for what we're discussing. Protein? Diet? No, they don't.
They're not nutritionists. He as a nutritionist should know this. And I'm continuing this debate here with him in the video, so he will be watching. I want you to comment below to clarify this. And I asked him in a post where I can find his education. His website doesn't seem to be working. All right, I just took a break. A few minutes into the break, I got 3 comments from this person. Notifications, turn them on. Talks about his major. The conversation we were just reading there continues. So we'll just continue the debate. And I just fixed my toilet in 1 minute. Didn't need to spend any money. And now I'm going to fix this guy. He's not studied science. Are you still on this? Why do people nitpick this? Year after year. This has been going on for 7 years. Maybe it's his vegan methods times 3 that people don't want to hear. Even vegans, a lot of vegans don't want to hear. Cooked food, you should only eat so much of it. There's problems with grains. I eat grains, but a lot of that stuff's true. Just accept it. Accept the truth, people. Why can't you do that? Why can't you just do that? His book is about the science. Name something wrong with his book, 80-10-10. I own it and will respond in a video. The book has never been truly debunked. I was thinking of saying that while I was on my break. There it is. I'm consistent with myself. Quote, using the term to imply credentials he does not have. It's dumb. It's doctors. Oh, I was thinking of this too. I've already said it. It's doctors who are pretending to be nutritionists. Sure, you can be a doctor and a nutritionist, but they are 2 different things. Graham has been upfront that his doctorate is chiropractic, and he stopped practicing it to be a fasting and fitness coach, and let his license expire. That's been lied about too, that he lost his license. No. Another big post here. I'm implying protein causes cancer. Actually, no. I didn't imply anything. I said it may contribute. Without actually understanding, yet you advocate the pseudoscientist. He's not a scientist. I don't think he says that. He says he is getting his information from the scientists. He's a writer. As proof, these claims are... No, I didn't say that it was proof. See, this guy's really exaggerating what I've said. It irritates me when people pretend they are experts in nutrition when they are not. A few hours ago, in preparing for this video, I asked this person about his education. I want to know more about when he went to school and what courses did he take. Did he graduate? What's his degree? We're going to see if he answered any of those questions. I first started studying nutrition in 1991. I think I know enough about it to use the word expert. There's always been disagreements among experts, so this is not unusual. Nutrasophic goes on. Protein requirements, 1 gram per kilogram, is necessary to maintain muscle mass. What do you think about that? This is based on decades of evidence. Consuming these amounts is not considered an excess amount. By who? By some people. It is by me because of what I know. Since the protein is being utilized. Yeah, but the kidneys and other organs still have to process all of that. See, what I understand is the way humans are supposed to eat. They are not supposed to be eating these amounts of protein and could never do that in nature. And this is something that his schools do not teach. That's why he doesn't understand where I'm coming from. And we go on back and forth again, and then I state things more clearly. I could have been more clear, but I thought people were up to speed on this. RDA is merely the amount required to prevent deficiency disease. That's his quote. And I continue it, covering everyone, even those with medical/absorption issues. They nearly double the amounts most people need to cover extreme conditions. Nutrasophic then went on to say, I don't want to be rude, but you really need to consider the points I've made and do some research. Well, I say, will you consider the points that I've made here in this video? You haven't considered them in my post yet. Here's the recent post that he made. Expert's a word I've used carefully. I'm a health professional and a registered nutritionist. Yes, that's been a pet peeve of mine for a while. People who are professionals, and people think that word means you should take their word for everything they say, when all it means is that they get paid, that they're in a line of work, that it's their job. He doesn't call himself an expert here. That's a word he'd use carefully. Here's his new website. You'll find some articles, an ongoing process, going back to university this year for a second degree, a postgrad MS. My major is human nutrition. Yeah, see, nutrition is the key word, which is why I know you have a misunderstanding regarding. See, the problem is he knows, he's been educated in nutrition and thinks I have a misunderstanding of nutrition. Well, I'm over here and I'm saying the same thing because of all I've learned about nutrition. I see that you have a misunderstanding. I have also pointed out many times here on my channel that people who are formally educated in nutrition are taught outdated information, and also it's not just outdated, it's faulty and flawed information. For instance, the RDAs. They apparently don't teach the whole truth about RDAs. They just teach the RDAs, and the problem is the students then make assumptions, just like you see all over the place. Humans do this. My mother was a certified nutritionist and worked as a health professional, and she also has a lot of criticisms for colleges. And she went to a college and almost got a degree. She was just taking one more course. And she said she saw some pretty crazy stuff in college. Stuff she already knew was inaccurate. But that's a problem with formal education. I say in my books, I am not formally miseducated. I take pride in that. I put it out there. I've spent the last 7 years teaching about myths and getting people to be able to think beyond the beaker and beyond rigid thinking. So speaking of the RDAs and me doing a little more research, I'm going to take you to the National Center for Biotechnology Information, specifically PubMed, which you should know, very popular website. And here I have found an article, The Scientific Basis of Recommended Dietary Allowances, RDA, for Calcium. The RDA of a nutrient for a particular group is considered to cover the needs of 98% of all individuals in that group, and thus takes into account a margin of safety to allow for inter-individual variations in minimum requirements. It appears to be possible to compensate for the losses through urine in the calcium retention in bone. Taking into account a margin of safety, figures are obtained for calcium intake. Some important questions still remain unanswered. The effects of non-nutritional factors, genetics, physical activity, nutritional factors, sodium, protein, alcohol, caffeine, on calcium requirements. They raised the calcium requirements, especially when you consider people are eating 2, 3, or 4 times as much protein as their bodies was meant to. So it would appear that just bone development and maintenance of bone health may not be the sole criteria for setting the RDAs. In the near future, yes, this nutritionist says he focuses on plant-based diet. Well, if you've been around the vegan circles, You know the issues with calcium, and that the RDAs are set purposefully higher than most people need to cover people who smoke, who eat a ton of protein, because we have this osteoporosis problem in this country. It's not from lack of calcium, it's from calcium depletion behaviors. The RDAs for calcium used to be 1,500, and they recently lowered it to 1,000. It's because people were going crazy trying to get 1,500. That's a really high number, an unnaturally high number. I don't even get 1,000, and I haven't gotten that in many years. And during that time, I regenerated a chipped tooth right here somewhere. I made a video about that, and my new chipped tooth over here, a couple weeks back, 3 weeks back, while getting even less than 1,000 milligrams of calcium. You see, I don't overeat on protein. I don't smoke. I live an actual healthy lifestyle. That's what I'm teaching here. People don't know what a healthy lifestyle is. Here's his website. Current evidence indicates many chronic diseases can be largely prevented or treated by adhering to a plant-based diet. I agree with that. And part of the reason is because plant-based diets are lower in protein and fat. It appears he is in the UK. I don't know how things are there, but I assume they're similar to here in the US. So he says he got some of his education just last year, which saddens me because I was hoping things have improved. Another question for Nutritionist is, what about the fact that human beings are frugivores and were never meant to eat foods high in protein? Like, share, and subscribe, and I want to know what you think, Nutritionist. Post a comment below, and then you can watch my video about my teeth and some other awesome video from the past.